Hi, it's me again with CorelDraw tips and tricks. Somebody posted this on Facebook and they're having trouble getting 3 sections in here, and they were asking about kerf. Well, kerf has very little to do about this. I just went out to the shop and made one and it came out pretty well. But this is what the file looks like. You don't want the recess from the top on the apple part with the stem. But then I had to cut little bitty edges in here for this to fit up inside the apple. And you really can't see it. I mean, if you look real close, it's right there. And I didn't experiment. I just eyeballed it. But there are different thicknesses. Like if you look at this one versus this one. So if we take the parallel dimension tool, this is 0.22. This one is 0.15. So how did I figure that out? So this might take a couple of videos, but what we're going to do, this is 1/8 inch plywood. We're going to take a rectangle and make it pretty long, but we're going to make it 0.125, which is 1/8 inch plywood. I'm going to unlock my ratio. I'm going to make that thing like 4 inches long. Now I'm going to hit P and put it in the center of the page. I am going to rotate that, Control D, and make a duplicate, and I'm going to rotate it 1/3 of that, which is 60 degrees. So I need to figure out, because normally your kerf would be 1.25, but since we're at an angle, it's not. So we need to figure out what this is. So we're going to take the parallel dimension tool, and we're going to go from right to there, and you see it's 1.14. I went with 1.15 just to give me a little bit better feel. And then Control D and make a duplicate and rotate it another 60 degrees. So that's your third part. So this one needs to be the distance of across here, which is 1.25. I actually went 1.22. It was a little tight, but I think it held together pretty good. And I don't even know if I did a good measurement on that. Let's do it again. Parallel dimension tool, go from that intersection. So it's 1.25, but I went 1.22. So I actually asked for the apple, but they hadn't replied yet. So I'm just going to show you, I took an apple off the internet. I outline trace, clip art. It traces it really good. I'm going to move it out of the way. You can see some gray in it. Doesn't really matter, but we're going to get rid of the gray. So I'm going to go to Object and break it apart or ungroup it. I'm going to take my pick tool and pick that inside. And now I'm going to take my Smart Fill tool and fill in that shape. So that's going to give me my shape of my apple. Then I'll left click, right click. And let's make it, with our ratio lock, let's make it 3.5 inches. Okay. So what you're going to do then is hit P and put that in the center of the page. We're actually going to need 3 of these in a minute. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set my nudge factor. This is 3.5 across. I want to make my nudge factor 4. And I'm going to hit the plus key and hit the plus key, and I've got 3 of them. Now this is the one I want my stem on, and I'm going to make my stem a little bit thicker than I did before. I'm just going to take the 3-point curve line, and I'm going to go from not really the center. Well, you know, it doesn't really matter in this case. And then I'm going to give it some curvature. That might be a little bit big. So we can take the shape tool and bring that down. Now I'm going to convert that line into something thicker, and I'm going to, other than a hairline, I'm going to make it 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to go to Object, convert the outline to an object. I'm going to left click, right click. I'm going to go ahead and do it in black. I'm going to go ahead and take these nodes and reduce them so it looks like it's coming up out of the apple like that. And as long as your curve's pretty good, I'm going to go ahead and take away these 2 nodes, see what happens. That looks pretty good. I messed up on mine a little bit. I made it too thin. So I'm going to go like right there. Now up here, we're going to right click, and you don't have to do this, just convert that to a curve, and then grab each one of these and just kind of give it a little bit of a curve. You know, we can make it really nice. Now what we're going to do is take our virtual segment delete key and delete these two lines. And we're going to take the Smart Fill tool and fill that in. And then I'm going to left click, right click. Doesn't really matter right now if it's black or red. I'm going to take this one away. I'm going to move that over. I'm going to bring in a 2-point line and making sure I go across all of them. So they're all on the same line, parallel. I'm going to go from right there. I'm going to hit the plus key and I'm going to go to right there. I'm going to shift select this one. I'm going to go up to effects and blend. I'm going to blend it just one time. That put me a line right in the middle. So you do not want your gap or your slot on this one up top. So we're going to draw a, if you remember, it was a 0.15 line. I'm going to go ahead and make it longer with my ratio lot. Just make it like 2 inches right now. And I am going to hit P and put it in the center of the page. That's pretty important. And then I'm going to take this line down with my 4-point cross. I need to get the 4-point cross. And I'm going to take it holding down the control button. That way it's still in the center of the page. And then I'm going to take my virtual segment delete key. I'm going to delete. No, I'm not. I'm just going to delete this line. Well, see, it won't delete. So you have to grab that, go up to object, break the blend apart for this to work. Whoop, don't want to do that. Take your virtual segment delete key and let's just delete these lines. And you can see they're still on the other ones. Might have to extend them back in just a second. Now we're going to take our Smart Fill tool and fill that in. And there's our first slot. Now the second one, we want a 1.5, but we want it in the top. So what I'm going to do is just move this out of the way for a second. And I'm going to nudge this one over so it'll be in the center of the page. I'm going to get me a 0.15 line. And I'm going to hit P, put it in the center of the page. But this time I'm going to go up. So I'm going to grab and that little line is still there. I'll get my 4-point cross. And I'm going to hold down the control button so it's perfect. And I'm going to go right there. Now, I don't have to do anything to this one. So I'm just going to take the Smart Fill tool and fill that in. And I'm going to move it out of the way. Now, the third one, I'm going to hit that and delete it. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because I don't need it. Now, in this one, we're going to have to go a lot further. So we're going to make it that 0.22 line. And we're going to hit P and put it in the center of the page. But I want to go just leave a little bit on the bottom. It was still strong enough. So what we're going to do, we're going to go in and just move this line up with the 4-point cross, holding down your control button. You get it about right there. We don't have to take anything away. I'm going to make my Smart Fill tool fill that in. Now I'm just going to nudge it out. And the whole time I'm nudging and not moving. Now I'm going to move it over and we're good to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and maybe delete all this. I'm going to go ahead and nudge this back. I'm going to take both these and I'm going to left click, right click. Let's go ahead and do them in red. Now, in both these, we need to put a little pocket. I did not test it. I just kind of guessed, and it's going to receive that last little bit on these two, on this one and this one. Well, yes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take just a square, and I'm going to do it about the height of that joint. That way that box can go, and you could actually go a little bit more. And I don't want it quite that big. And let's move this in a little bit. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to take my, I don't need to do it on this one. So I'm going to move it because that's going to be our bottom one. So on our bottom one, I still want to be able to get that box in there or get that final piece in there. So kind of go to the middle, maybe go up a little bit. And we're going to take the virtual segment delete key and delete all this and delete this. You know what? I wonder if we can't. No, we have to delete it all. So that's going to be our, you could actually leave that. Doesn't really matter. It might burn away. Take your Smart Fill tool. That box is probably a little bit big. I'm going to left click, right click. I could actually cut that away right now. We could change the shape a little bit, just bring that down. Take the virtual segment delete key and delete that. And then I didn't make a copy of that box because we need to do it here. But what I can do is get one close by taking, so it would have been better to get a copy of it. I'm just going to make basically a copy of that, same size. I'm going to put it like I'm going to center it over that line. Should be a midpoint. And then holding down the control button to bring it down. And then I'm going to take my virtual segment delete key and delete through there. Now to go ahead and Smart Fill it one more time. Move that out of the way. Left click, right click. And there's your 3 pieces. Delete all this other stuff. And mine's not perfect, or I would share the file, but it worked. And so you're going to put these 2 pieces, let me do them in order. You're going to put these 2 pieces together first. You know, that one is going to slide to the top. And so it'll be 2 pieces, then kind of make it at that angle. And then from the bottom, slide this up into this joint. And we should get that right there. Came out pretty good. I like her apple a little bit better than mine. I didn't think about it when I was looking at it. A little thinner on top, but it doesn't really matter. I hope that helped them a little bit. Thank you for watching.